Hello? 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 Hello?
I can hear you.
You can hear me, Emmy?
Yes, yes, I can hear
Okay.
you.
Well, that's fabulous because now I can hear you. So that's awesome. Okay. So now,
Mm.
now we need to hear John. I don't know what he's eating, if it's a bagel or what. Oh yeah, maybe he needed to reset. So, Emmy, have you done coding before?
Yes, I'm a web developer, so I'm mostly
Oh,
on web
awesome.
dev, so different language.
Awesome.
Hi guys, I'm back.
Okay,
Yay!
I can hear you now.
Okay, now I
Is
was
that
trying to
a
figure out what's up with the
bagel?
mic.
Because it looks delicious.
It's a sandwich, turkey and cheese with some
Mm.
mustard. Natalia made it for me. I didn't have time to eat.
Oh no.
Yeah. Hmm. Let me call him on the phone. See what's going on.
Oh, womp womp.
He probably still stuck, can't get in.
Hey, bro. Um, Reboot your computer. Copy and paste the link from Discord into a fresh tab in Chrome, and then if that error is hit the wheel, and let me know what happens.
Oh, hey John. So,
Yeah.
so I just like do research how to install like whatever C sharp to work on my local, and then like VS Code. I need less extension to make C sharp work
Yeah.
than PHP.
Oh wow.
I know it's like what? So I only like do one command to install C sharp SDK
Yeah.
on my Mac, and that's it. And then on VS Code, I just have like C sharp three extension, and that's it. All work. And I'm
Yeah. Yeah. Me. It's that's a really good example of how. Remember when I said in the day one that C# has an opinion on how things are done, and that I really liked that. Um, that concept of having an opinion on how things should be done are why a lot of Microsoft built products sort of like just work,
Mm-hmm.
because they're not trying to create maximum flexibility. They're trying to give you one simple method of being effective.
Mm.
Yeah. So, yeah. They got a bad rap, I think back in like the 90s with a lot of like rebooting and blue screens and stuff. But I've found for the last 10 years or so, it's been a pretty stable operating system.
Mm.
I wouldn't say the same thing for Teams. I'm definitely grumpy with Teams, but
Oh my
Windows
God,
itself,
Teams is ugh.
yeah. uh, but Windows itself, I think, has been pretty solid.
Mm.
Um, Mike, can you hear me okay? Yeah, I can hear you fine. Okay, I'm going to start the lecture while you're trying to join, but you'll be able to hear me because I'm going to stay on the phone with you, okay? Okay, yes. Okay. One housekeeping item before we dive into today's lecture is I've tried a couple different styles of teaching this course with you guys so far. Um, I've done it where I don't show a lot of slides and mostly I'm showing the code and I'm kind of doing examples of the concept at the same time. Uh, and then we go into the practice, right? And I've also done it where we go through all the slides and then we sort of like go through it again with code, um, and then go into the practice. Did either one of those stand out for you guys as being more effective approach than the other?
I wouldn't say necessarily. I know I try to follow along if you are physically coding, though.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm definitely the type of person that needs to do it while it's being explained in order for it to stick. I
Okay.
guess my problems are uh, the syntaxes just
Yeah.
not being correct. So that's on me.
Okay. Um, so maybe the first approach where we code and lecture at the same time is something that's more comfortable for you.
Okay.
Is that what you're saying?
Um. Yeah. I guess that is. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. All right. Cool. I will. If anybody feel differently about it?
Um, I I don't recognize the different style that you talk
Okay.
about,
Fair enough.
but no, but the first day that like what is it? I think the second day that I can be in the class, right? And
Right.
then I kind of get the slide and then I read all the slide first and then I watch the record and I like it. I kind of like it. Like, I mean, if
Okay.
you finish the slide earlier and you can send out, like I will like screen scan first to know about like what we're gonna heading into today. And then I mean when in class
Oh,
then,
okay.
but I don't know if other people like it this way
That
too.
that kind of blends in. I can still go through. I can send the deck out so that you can read through it, and then when I talk through it and show code at the same time, that sounds very doable. Okay, let's
Yeah.
go ahead and dive in. All right. Um, So, just kind of a review of what we've covered so far. We've talked about data structures. We have these classes, which are ways of grouping related data and behavior. We've got some variables that store values. We've got arrays, which are fixed size lists, and we've got lists, which are dynamic and you can add and remove from them. And then we even did a dictionary, which had this key value pair. We did if, else if, and else as our control statements, and we used them to create some logical comparisons. And we wrote some guards to make sure people are entering things that are valid, right? And when I talk about guards, that is in our dice roller example here. Let me go big. In our dice roller, these are guards, right? And so, Mike, what I'm highlighting is where we said if the number of dice is less than one, it prints a statement that says you can't roll less than one die, and doesn't actually get into dice rolling. And then we had the other one that made sure the number of sides were valid. Those are guard clauses. Okay. And then we also did loops. We talked about 3 kinds of loops. We did the for loop, and then we did a for each loop, and we also did a while loop and gave some examples of how those are different from each other. Okay, so today we are going to talk about debugging code. Yay! All right. What's that? Yeah. Yeah, it's getting to the part in the complexity where this is going to be helpful. So, what do we mean by debugging? It's making sure that what we wanted to happen is what actually happens, right? Um, and even though we talked about computers being kind of like genies and granting wishes and that they do exactly what you tell them to do, um, uh, that's not always what you intended, right? Um, and when we get into debugging, uh, there's an easy trap to fall into where you try and make assumptions about what your code is doing, right? And you start changing things, and make that be a red flag in your head. Okay, if you don't know what the root cause is, then rather than changing things in hopes that it works, what you really need to do is use some of the debugging tools I'm going to share with you right now so that you find out what the root cause is. Okay, nobody wastes more time than a programmer who can't see the actual error. Does that make sense?
That makes a lot of sense.
Okay, yeah. um, Okay, so debugging tools. One of the reasons that I love Visual Studio is it does what's called a breakpoint. So let me show you guys what that looks like. So and Mike, you're probably just gonna have to watch the video. But keep trying to join. But uh, okay, so this bar here, and you'll see this little gray circle shows up, right? That is the ability to set a breakpoint. And you can see I've got one right here inside this stat list, but I'm going to do one at the very beginning um, so that you can see this sooner on. So now there is a breakpoint set here. You can right click on this and you can set some conditions. Don't do that until you're comfortable with if then statements. Okay. So let me show you what happens. I'm going to start the program, same way we've always started the program. And because I put it on the first line of code, it immediately stops and it highlights it in yellow and it adds all these crazy windows. And what is neat is now I can inspect the code. Okay. I'll talk about these windows in a second. But right now, player character is null, meaning it hasn't been set. Okay. If I press the F10 key on my keyboard, it finishes executing that line of code, but I can still inspect things. And now I can see player character has been set. Hey, and Mike, are you able to see and hear now?
I'm in here now. Yeah. I hope you
Okay.
can hear me.
Yep, we can. Okay. So Mike, this is where I hit this gray bar, and that's how I set the breakpoint. And then I ran the program, and it stopped it right here. The yellow part is which code is executing. So if I hit F10 and advance again, and I come back over here, you can see run started just displayed. And you can just spam F10 and keep moving it through. Keep moving it through the program. Okay. And you see I type in no. Response right now is no. And now response is capital no because that line finished. Does that make sense?
So the F10, you're just running the program
one line at a time.
one line at a time.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And if I get tired of this, maybe I found out what I wanted to know, right? I can press F5 and it will continue until the program ends or it hits another breakpoint. Okay. So like let me put in a breakpoint right here. Okay. And is this what I wanted? No. Right. So it actually popped back up here. Hasn't hit this breakpoint. I didn't have to hit F10 because I hit F5 and it's telling the program to continue. Finally, I hit yes. And now we're back to, because we hit another breakpoint, it stops it again. Does that make sense to you guys? You following along?
Mhm.
Yeah. And now let's start talking about some of these windows. So there's, I believe, the next slide. So step over is F10. The step out is what we're doing with the F5, and we'll talk about step into when I get to a good spot. I'll show you that. The next thing are these watch and local windows. So what these are, this one is auto. There's a couple of these guys. See, there's locals and here's watch, right? So what this is doing is, here, let's go to local. Okay. So this is referring to this instance of game core. And if I hit this caret, it opens it up. Let's make this big. And I can see there's player character, which is right here, defined right here, right? And then dice roller, the roll one is static, so it's inside here. There's roll, right? And you can just keep opening these things up and seeing all kinds of stuff, whatever the person choose to do. Okay, let's look at player characters to make a little more sense though. So now I can see the name is Yim, and the stats, we haven't entered the stats yet, so the count is 0. But once this code down here that generates the stats runs, you can open this up and you can see them all. It's really cool, you know. And that's going back to the previous slide. That's what I mean by, like, if it's not doing what you think it's doing, putting a breakpoint in and looking at this is an amazing way of seeing what's actually happening, right? Where did these variable values differ from what you were expecting? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, maybe you want to just define your own, right? Like, I want to watch player character dot stats. So you can do that in watch, okay? And that can be kind of nice. Instead of having, like, sometimes this autos and locals can get really big and overwhelming. So you can, in the watch window, you can just type one in and have all the same features. Okay. I'm not ready to talk about call stack yet. Diagnostic tools I have used once in my 20 years of career. So we're just going to get rid of that guy. Okay. Sound good? Keep it simple. Yeah. Okay. So let's see what happens to player character stats as this loop executes. Oh, look at that. Stats add, and now there's this row right here. Right? And I keep F10ing through. Happens again, right? Okay. Now, what's happening though, because I'm hitting F10, I don't get to see what's happening inside of this D6 method. Okay. You have a couple options. You can come over here and you can go to D6 and you can drop a breakpoint, or you can drop a breakpoint in roll die, or you could even drop a breakpoint here and it will drop into it. So let's put one right there and let's see how that looks. And see, it skipped, it went into D6. That's why this is kind of grayed out, right? And it just automatically went in there because I hit F10 until it hit the breakpoint, and then it returned control to me. Okay. In my slide here, when I talk about step into, this is one of the ways of like, diving into a method. Okay. And that is a great way to start showing you the call stack. So this is the call stack over here. And these things are like sitting inside of each other. Does that conceptually make sense to you guys?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this is the top of the call stack. This is sort of like upside down. Okay. And program is where we started, right? And on line 4 of program, we entered gamecore.run. Then on line 35 of gamecore, right here, we entered D6. And then in D6, it went into roll dice. And what's nice about this is it kind of helps you understand where you're at in program execution, but it also creates a handy way of jumping around. So you can double click and it'll jump your window to wherever you're clicking. So if you're like, okay, I know I'm here, but how did I get here? The call stack kind of helps you understand how you got here. I got to roll dice by this line of code right here. Does that make sense?
Yes, I get it.
Okay. Let me remove this breakpoint, come back over here, and I want to show you another way of getting into D6, and that's the F11 key. Okay. So we've exited that. All our dice roll happens. Now we've got Constitution in there. Okay. And rather than setting the breakpoint inside there, you can hit F11. Which also changes full screen. No. It's not going to work because of... okay. So on your VMs, you can hit F11, and it's the same as putting a breakpoint in D6, and it'll go inside that method. Okay.
Up Team Viewer thinks I'm a snapshot.
Yeah. So they hijacked our bindings, unfortunately. Okay. So that's step into. That comes in handy. Let's see what else is on our slide list. Oh, immediate window. Okay. Let's say you're trying to recreate a situation. There's another window here called the immediate window. That's this guy right here. Okay. And watch this. So let me hit F10. Okay. And roll D6 3 times, turn stat value into 13. But for testing purposes, I want to know what happens if stat value was 200. Okay. I can hit that. And now stat value is 200. And when I continue on, you can see it basically what I did is the immediate window lets me sort of like type a command right then and there. It's not as commonly used as like watches and breakpoints, but it's still a good debugging tool. If you're trying to recreate something a particular way, that can be really helpful. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Then the next way that we debug our programs are with logs. Now, a lot of programs have some kind of user interface. We'll bring one up right now. Okay. And so I've got this user interface, right? And I want to see what's happening in it. And I need to see it at runtime, not like when my users are in there doing stuff, right? So what I can do is create some logs. Let's see where I have one. Probably, if I had to guess, good chance there's a log entry in here. Okay, great. So pretend like instead of logger.send, it said console write line. Okay. Basically, what this is saying is I have some fancy logging tool and send this message to that system. Okay. And I'm going to teach you about this $sign and these braces at the end of today. You're going to love it so much. But for now, this is a really fancy way of me logging the fact that this log entry came from this class and this method. Because when you're looking at logs, it can, if you don't put where that happened, it can really slow you down. Uh, let me get, oh, my 11 is messing up. Okay, let me show you this. So Nomad is where I have a bunch of code running. Awesome, I got logged out. Let's log back in. Where's my password? Great, there's all my passwords recorded for everybody to see. Oh, it's interesting. It says I'm signed in, but it's not. Okay, there we go. All right. Token. What is going on today? Copy.
Something about a law today, a Murphy law.
Yeah, it's not letting me paste my token in for some reason.
It's not where you parked your car.
Dude, not wrong. Wow. Oh my god, do I have to type this whole thing? It's gonna take forever. Oh, is my keyboard working? Okay, keyboard is functional. Okay, all right. Let's try this.
Did you turn it off and on again?
That's actually what I'm doing right now. Okay. Okay. So Nomad is this tool that I have a lot of my software running in. These are all different applications that I've built and are running in here. And one of the things it does is it lets me see the log. So these are all log entries, right? So for example, let's say I looked at this one and I was like, well, why in the heck is it running OCR on page 4, blah, 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 right? These little comments are a pro tip. This lets me know, go find this method. That's where it's running this. Does that make sense? As opposed to me just having this information and being like, where did that come from? Does that make sense? It's really, really helpful to know where the log entry came from and what time it came in. And so logging is super awesome and helpful. Neem, you probably do a lot of logging for debugging pages you're developing, I would think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. A lot of logging and send notification.
Yeah. It's for web applications, logging is one of the best ways for debugging stuff while it's running, you know?
Mhm.
Because you can't really, maybe you can, but it can be hard to do breakpoints in certain programming languages, you know?
John,
Yeah.
I forgot I have a therapy appointment. So I don't know if I'm going to be back before class ends.
Okay. Well,
So
enjoy your
that
appointment
so I
and
apologize.
we'll have the video. That's okay.
Okay. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
recording, right?
Yep, it is. Yeah.
Fabulous. Okay. All right. I'm sorry.
Okay. That's okay. Thanks, Courtney.
Okay. Bye, guys.
Okay.
Bye.
Okay. So we talked about breakpoints. We talked about stepping over, stepping into. F5 just says go back and start running everything. I should have put those in the slides. Sorry about that. And then here's a sample breakpoint that's in the slide deck. Yep, we talked about all those. Oh, okay. Yeah, here are the. I was trying to blend things. Okay, I remember doing this now. So there you can see the variables forming. We talked about logs. Identify the log location. Oops.
Yeah,
Location
hold on, hold
code,
on.
timestamps. Yeah.
Go back to the one where you had it circled for the log. No.
This one.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten to
Okay.
that one yet. That's ahead.
Okay.
We'll get to that
Okay.
in a second. I want to talk about this real quick. So I don't have timestamps in my logging because in my ecosystem of applications, I have a special log software that I'm going to be doing that auto timestamps for me. And so until I do that, I didn't want to put timestamps into my log entries so that I don't get two timestamps when I start running it through my logging software, you know. But I I would highly recommend that you guys include timestamps in yours. Now, for what you're doing right now, your local time zone is fine. When you get into enterprise grade coding, all times everywhere should always be in UTC, which is like the um, universal time zone. Okay. Um, so, okay, Mike. Now I'm ready to show you this. What's your question?
No, so okay, so you were showing us this earlier, and you said that the prefix or the part that's in the brackets
Right.
is the easy way to find it inside of the program or in a class or wherever you house it, right?
Correct. I'm gonna show you
That's
how to
your
do that.
shortcut.
So
Yeah,
correct.
that's the yeah.
So this is my log entry. This one that starts with workflow API controller. Okay. This is somebody else's. Okay. Uh, and the reason I like mine is because I can come to the source code for We Build Things, and I can come to my workflow engine project, and it's the workflow API controller. So it's probably here in controllers. Here it is, workflow API controller right there. Okay. It's in the post workflow execution status method. So I'm scrolling down here, post workflow execution status, right? Uh, and here is my log entry, right? So it took me probably less than a minute to find where this entry came from. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So really, really handy. And actually, I can see like, hey, there is a little bug here that I'm going to fix real quick. Okay. So next release, that little patch will come in. So what happened? We're going to cover this at the end of today. But what I just did will come in handy. I don't think I put that in the slide, and I'll explain when we get there. Okay. We're gonna get into project management now. Okay. Uh, so lots of different project management tools. I use one called Trello because it's simple, it's easy to share, and it's free. Okay. Um, so there's a project that Mike and I are working on together where Mike was QCing for me. Okay. And so we have this board. The big things you want to have is sort of like your to do, your in progress, and you're done. And you can add some more. We wanted to separate out to do from failed bugs or failed tests, right? And we wanted to separate out my in progress from Mike's in progress. And you can see Mike is behind on purpose because I told him not to work, you know. So essentially think of these actually started out as sticky notes on walls in Silicon Valley, you know, and then we made them digital because we don't like wasting sticky notes. um, and even if I'm doing a project where I'm the only engineer, I will still build Trello cards for it. Okay. um, so for example, like we have our Dungeons and Dragons game that I'm working on. I've got one. Oh, here we go. Yeah, augmented tabletop. So here's one for that, right? Um, and there's some really good reasons for it. Okay, we talked about our columns. Okay. All right. I guess we're gonna explain cards first, and then we're gonna get into why I do it. So, what do you want to have on a card? You want to have a title that helps you understand what needs to be done. You want to have some details in here potentially. Sometimes it's enough with a title and memory, but when you're working with larger teams, and maybe I'm writing the card, but Mike's going to write the code for the card, I need to come in here and be more, descriptive and say, you know, there is a file called equipment.json, which will be in the project root directory. When the game engine starts, we need part of the startup process to be the equipment manager to grab that JSON file and create an equipment template object for each piece of equipment in the equipment.json file. Okay. And so as much details as possible. Okay. You can add checklists if you want, right? So, file loads, objects get created, right? And then maybe we have to actually like go on the internet and get some equipment data to build the JSON file from. Yeah. So lots of cool things that you can do with these cards. And generally speaking, you're going to have an architect or product owner who defines what goes on the card. They're going to describe the problem and the solution. That's common too. So maybe we can say is what we might say for that is we need an easy way for someone to create and store So we describe the problem and a way of solving it, right? Then I'm going to go give this to the engineer. That's you, right? And what you need to do is describe your design. So you can say, and so on and so forth, right? And then you say, okay, Mr. Product Owner and Architect, here's my plan for it. How does that work for you guys? And they'll read through it and they'll be like, you know what, that's great. Go ahead and run with that. Or they might say, hey, you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, that's not going to work because that's going to cause a problem with this other thing, and we need to come up with an alternate solution, right? Once both sides agree that that ticket is ready, it's considered refined, and we can start writing code on it. It's a great way to do it that gives you flexibility in an agile environment without taking up too much time planning. You know. Well, yeah. So the other thing it does is it helps kill assumptions. It's almost impossible to completely eliminate assumptions and validate everything. Uh, but they're generally a source of problems when they're turned out to be invalid. So you want to check them. Um, you can make that ticket an open process, right? They almost always have comments. The ones in Trello do, and you could use the comments to say, well, okay, Mr. Architect, what happens if they're using S3 storage instead of local storage for their game? How are we supposed to get the equipment.json file then, right? And then they'll type out an answer, right? And you can see that conversation history. Putting them in your own words is great. Put everything into the card. Don't rely on your memory. And agree that it's the right solution before we start writing code. So this is some of the reasons why I use cards for my own work. I'm working on what I have right now. I had like 5 things I was doing, right? Generating an NPC background. I'm in the middle of writing code on this, and I'm like, you know what? I want to have background graphics, right? Uh, and so rather than flipping over and starting to write the whole thing, I can just create the card for it, preserves my idea, lets me stay focused on the code that I'm writing right now, you know? Makes me feel like as things start getting into the done pile, like I'm really excited with this project, and how many things are over here in the done pile. It's like, yeah, look at all that work we did. That's pretty awesome, that we built this thing. Yeah, a little planning can save a lot of time, right? Just knowing like here's all the things that I have to build, and I put all those ideas out. Sometimes those ideas don't work together, you know? And so before I even start writing code on one of them, I can identify and correct that particular issue. Um, and you need to have a healthy balance between having no plan and just ending up with spaghetti code, right? uh and having so much planning that you never actually get any work done. And that's kind of the heart of agile software engineering. It's great for software where change is relatively cheap. You obviously don't want to build your skyscraper that way, right? uh it might fall over if you built skyscrapers with agile engineering. um So another way to save your ideas is to create stubs. And we've been doing that already, but I didn't call it out and explain it. So let me show you a stub we did. Okay, I didn't have it in this particular version, so I'll make one real quick. Whoa, wrong spot. Okay, so I know that at some point in my game, the character has to be able to move around. Okay. I am nowhere near handling movement. That means I got to have maps. I got to have a way in my user interface that I'm going to express that. You know, locations have references to each other. The tavern's in the city's in the country. Location's a complicated topic. Okay. But I also know I can't not have it. Okay. Right now, I'm just trying to build the character, though. I want to stay focused on that. So, what I did is I made a really simple class called location, and I tied it into my character, and then I can go and do my little quick refactor and get this out of the way, right? So now I got location over here, and I can come back and flush that out later. So that's what I mean by stubs. It's just another way of preserving your ideas and getting them kind of started, but not having them move forward until you're ready to work on that. You can also use comments. I think I just put one in here in Dice Roller. So, you know, right now we kind of slapped this in there really quick and dirty because we're doing a class. I didn't want to take time to type in, the 13 different kinds of dice that are okay between 2 and 100, you know. But and so I left a little comment. A lot of times people will do this in their comments because you can do a search and you can start finding all the places you left to dos in your application. That make sense?
Yeah, I did a lot of that. To do, to do,
Yeah,
to do. And
yeah,
question mark to my boss
yep,
when I submit PR, question mark. What do you want to
yeah,
do about this?
yeah. I usually put honestly, this is very common and there's nothing wrong with it. I personally don't do a lot of to dos. A lot of times, what I do instead of a to do is I do a Trello card for it, and I'll be
No,
like, go back and refactor the dice roller.
I mean,
Um,
I did both,
yeah,
but mostly my to do is like, I don't know when I'm gonna get to this, but we have to do this.
yep, yep. Yeah, it's true. We don't. It a lot of times the to dos don't get done until there's a bug, and then they get done as solving the bug. um, okay, so this is what I meant. So later on, so now I've got this location. Okay, and let me come back over to my code. Where's my code? Okay, and in here we finished printing the character sheet. Right, we're gonna be like, we're gonna start the adventure. Right. And I want to separate that out from character creation. And I think to myself, oh, why are you upset about that? Oh, okay, you're fine. I say, hey, you know what? Um, this is a game. It's supposed to be fun and exciting. Um, I should really have a description. Thinking back to that single responsibility principle, where is a really good place to store that location description? Mike, what do you think?
Well, didn't you create a location class?
I did, exactly. So coming in here, now I'm going to take that stub that I did before, right? And I'll add a description to it. And so that's how you take that stub from being just this like placeholder and slowly working it in. Later on, we might need to have a list of characters or maybe monsters, you know, uh, right? And this is all the monsters that are in a particular location, right? And oops,
Mm.
I did that wrong, right? And what that lets me do, I'll explain this override string to string thing. This is coming up at the end of today's lesson, so just go with it for right now. I'll explain it in more detail in just a minute, right? This is kind of like that print character sheet, right? Uh, and you could do, I'm going to be really fast here, so I'm just going to do it as comments in pseudocode because you guys know how to do this already. I'm going to say, you are in name, and you see, count monsters, and it looks like, really rough pseudocode there, but you kind of get the idea. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So we will come in and flush this out another time. I'm going to comment this out for right now because I haven't defined monsters in my game, and so the code wouldn't run. Okay. And then when you come back over here to your game core, instead of doing it this way, right, we can just do you enter. It's a bit more powerful. Just like that print character sheet, you know. You could use this in many spots, not just when the adventure starts. Okay, and so this is all these things, the Trello cards, the comments, the stubs, these are all ways for you to start writing useful code while your ideas are still forming. Does that make sense? In the beginning of a program, it's a bit more art than science, you know. Um, in the course of solving some of the problems that you come across, you might change the design of the program. You know, we might start with a program thinking this is the way customers want to use it, and customers are like, well, you know what, that's really neat, but in my business I would never use that, but I could totally see that if you just make this one little change, I could totally use it over here. Can I give you 50 grand, and how long will it take you to have that live? It makes sense. um so it, use these as tools for flexibility, so you're not losing your thoughts, you know, and you can get something out there to start getting feedback on quickly. So one of the things that people will say in software engineering is that good code is elegant and self-documenting. And what we mean by self-documenting is like, I don't have to put a comment right here. I don't have to do this because the way that I've named it, it's very obvious that that's what's happening. Even Yim, who doesn't even know about character sheets, probably isn't wondering what this method does. Does it make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like
And by elegant,
self-explanatory kind of.
right. And by elegant, what we mean is that you can kind of read through here and you have a pretty good idea what's happening, you know, as opposed to if I did for, you know, P equals 0, P is less than, oh, sorry, I know what it is. P is less than A. Oh my goodness, stop trying to help me. E plus plus, you know, A dot, dot B, plus plus, you know, C equals A dot B. You know, like, none of us know what's happening there. Will it run and execute and do code? Sure. But I've been so vague and I haven't put any comments. I would not call that elegant or self-documenting.
Yes.
Okay. So you guys have leveled up. You get to learn some amazing new tools. So I needed you guys to understand methods and consoles and right versus right line. And now I'm going to teach you about some symbols like this $sign symbol here and these little braces, and how we can take and make our stuff so much easier. Okay. So watch
Hold on.
this.
Can you full screen that?
Oh, yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
I have to put the $sign in front of my double quotes. Then I do this curly brace. All right. And these execute exactly the same. It's a little more esoteric. You have to kind of understand the curly braces and then this thing, but I got it all in the one line of code. Does that make sense?
Don't think I got that far. Okay.
Just,
Uh,
I would say it's a syntax. Keep doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. So I can do this down here too, right? You enter player character. Oops, I forgot my curly brace. And it does an implicit, meaning it does it without you telling to. It does it to string. Okay. So let's come over to location and let's make this. Okay. So you can do it multiple times. There's no limit. Okay. This says override because every class has toString. Okay. If you try and do it this way, it's going to complain and say, hey, it's already been defined. Okay. So that's why I did the override. I'm basically saying, hey, I'm taking control of this method. Okay. That gets into some things about class inheritance that we haven't really talked about yet. Those are coming, I think, next week, towards the end of next week. But for now, this handles implicitness. And so, like, for example, let me give you awesome. Let me put a breakpoint in and I'll show you right here. We'll do a breakpoint. Watch this. Okay, what's my character's name? John. Okay. So coming over here to player character, it says the value of player character is dice rolling dot character. That's called this class's type, right? It comes from this right here. You know? And to see John, right, I have to open it up and look at name. Okay. Now imagine, if you will, that you have an MMORPG and there are 10,000 player characters logged in right now, and so this list is 10,000 player characters long, and you're trying to find a particular one. It'd be a nightmare. You have to open up every single one of those until you find the one with the particular name you're looking for, right?
mm-hmm.
So if I come in here and I override to string, oops. Now, let me run this. Oh. Now, toString is what controls the value that's printed there. So for debugging alone, it's huge. You know, plus if I wanted to do something like, I can just do, right? And what it's going to say is John enters, and what's location set to do? Location is set to do name colon description. So let's give John let's create a location. Oh, you know what? We forgot to assign the location to Prismal. My bad. Let's fix that real quick. There we go. Do that one more time.
Well, wait.
So there we go. Prismal enters Tim's dungeon. A dank and mildew filled salt mine.
Okay. Can you? I'm sorry. Can you close this and can you go to what was it? Game Core? No,
Right here.
location. Location.
Oh, location.
Yeah. Yeah. See, you have it here. It says it puts you at the location right here. So shouldn't it have put you at the
Where does it?
location? So the player character location right here, this very last line, line 50.
No, I'm just accessing the property, but I still have to set the property. I never set it. I never gave location a value anywhere.
Hmm.
This is so here I created the location instance, right? And here is where I gave location a value. Now let's change this up again, okay?
Because I'm
And let's make another location. Here, if I just call it location, it's going to mess me up now. Okay. Now, the player starts in the prison cell. Okay. Don't worry about start adventure yet. Okay. Okay. You kind of follow along just by here, and then I'll run it in a second. But do you see the difference?
Yeah, I'm just so you have to okay, go ahead.
I have to change the variable.
Mm-hmm. 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 Mm-hmm.
So when you have like hit points and stuff, it's the same thing. You're going to be changing the hit point value a lot.
Well, yeah, I mean, but
Yeah.
okay.
You keep playing with it, you'll get it. Yeah.
Yeah, what I'm you're gonna have to label each description you can't. How do you go
Correct.
back? So if I wanted to go, let's say 2 rooms from now, they catch me. I go back to the prison cell.
Well, I would store all my locations in a dictionary. Is what I would do. I'd come up here. And I would do this.
And not to question you, but why would we put this in game core and not the location class?
Well, the location class is for one location, but what I would really do, Mike, is I would have game core would just be for rules, and I would have an adventure class that had all the locations and all the monsters and whatever for a particular location in it. And then I would feed my game into my adventure into my game core. You follow me? But that gets into, are we doing one adventure or are we doing a lot of adventures with this game engine? Does that make sense?
Sure, but I think I just fundamentally misunderstood. So I was using classes as a repository for that thing, right? So monsters, for instance, right? I was assuming that I was going to build how to build monsters, right? Or characters, like the characters. This is how you build a character. You're saying that it's supposed to just be a specific instance, not multiple instances.
No, we're both correct. So what you're talking about is called a factory. That's one of the design patterns we're going to learn later on. And then the factory will produce a particular instance.
And then I was using the program to reference when I wanted to pull information from like a character. The program pulls it from that class. I tell it to go to the class. This is the information for that particular thing, and then it fills it out. Am I understanding this correctly?
Yeah, like I said, you're not wrong. Okay, it's just that it's that the you're thinking about it like a real engineer. Okay, we're gonna have one that holds the data and one that kind of builds everything, and they're similar, but they do have different jobs. Like if I'm gonna have a whole bunch, I'm gonna have monsters, right? I have one class that stores a particular instance of a particular monster, but I might have a factory that stores how to create each type of monster. Does it make sense?
Yes, but I was treating it different. So I was saying that here's the basic building blocks of what a monster. So here's stats, right? Strength, dex, con, right? Okay. Baseline is 10. And then goblin gets +2 to this or +2 to that or whatever, right? Like and then if I choose to make like a goblin leader or a hobgoblin leader or whatever, right? Then I define their armor class and their additional stats.
Right.
I buff them individually as they come across them, right? Like that's kind of how I was treating it, right? So when I say goblin, you give them all 10s, and then these little bonuses down here that I've given to goblins, right? Like +2 dex or whatever, right?
Right.
That's kind of how I was treating it. And maybe you're telling me the same thing, it just in a different way.
I think that's it. Yeah. This will come from experience too. You're doing okay for where you're at. You're asking the right questions.
Yeah, but now I'm not doing okay, but we'll talk later.
Okay. Well, and we're getting into the section of class where we're going to start writing some code, and I'll be here to help you through it. So, yeah.
John.
Yeah.
Could you go to the character file?
Absolutely.
I mean, or on this file, on the line 64.
Yeah, this one right here.
So yeah, when you console right line like player characters, I
Uh-huh.
thought it's supposed to show like it's supposed to render dice rolling character, but I don't know why it show like the name.
Okay, so let's go take a look at the player character file, Amy. So print character sheet does all this work. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, and
Ah,
then toString does this.
but you didn't call to string. What
Well,
did you call?
toString. So when you do this fancy stuff with the braces, sorry, when you do this,
Uh-huh.
okay, it's implied that you did this.
Oh,
It's you don't have to type it, but it's implied.
I see. Okay, got
Yeah.
it now. I
Okay.
was like, why is render name?
Well, and that's why I didn't want to show you this stuff right away because
Mm,
it it's invisible,
I
and
see.
that can cause confusion. But now that you guys have this, it's fine to have as an alternative. If you're struggling with it, right, then you can choose which way. So I wanted to show you the basics so that you have choice. And now I can show you a faster way, but it requires a little bit of faith because it's invisible.
Player. Can
Same thing with
can you,
this one,
can you go back to the characters file again?
Yeah.
Let me see.
Let me put a little space
Um,
in right here.
okay. If you have another field name like just string but not string name but string
How about description?
yes, what about that? And
Okay.
then could you go back to the game core file?
Yep.
If on line 43, if you do player character description, then it's just gonna do description, right? Like you don't have to
Correct.
worry about it. Okay.
Correct. Yeah. Yep.
What if on the character file you don't have that to string?
It will not even compile the program. Oh no, I'm sorry. Never mind. You asked a different question than what I was thinking you were going to ask. Sorry. If you don't have toString, it's going to print the name of the class. So it'll print dice
I
rolling
see.
dot character.
Okay,
That's the
got it now.
default. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Oh, then if you don't have this out, you have to specify what you wanna,
Mm-hmm.
what field you want to print out, whatever. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So for example, in dice roller, I don't have toString, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got it now because I like when I play on my own, I try to see like what is it in the whole class, and it just gives me one string, and I like, and why can you get something else?
Yeah. But did we not load where's the oh, I called it roll. That's what it was. Okay, so watch this. So I don't have toString on dice roller, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it prints the namespace and the class.
Okay, got it now.
Okay. Okay. All right, we're going to start prepping for tomorrow's homework, okay? So uh I want you to decide your goal for what you can do for the homework, which I'd like the homework to be turned in on Monday. Okay? So pick something that you think you can handle, okay? And I think I've set some pretty reasonable expectations, and it's all based on stuff that not only have we already talked about, but we've largely already done in the course, okay? So make a program that has at least 2 classes for data. So for example, Mike, you could have character and monster, right? Or character and location if you want to avoid combat, you know. Emmy, we talked about like a TV show, and then maybe there's also a TV episode, right, for you. And Courtney, maybe you do like Vanguard and Guardian. I think I already saw both of those in your program. Okay. Then create a third class, kind of like my game core, okay, for taking in some user input and changing some data in your classes. So setting the character's name, setting the character's stats, right? Emmy, maybe it's adding a TV show to a list and then adding an episode to a TV show, right? Um, and Courtney's similar to Mike, selecting one of the vanguards and selecting a guardian type for building out their character. Okay. Uh, include a loop that keeps it from running until the person types exit. So you have sort of like a user interface feel, right? Uh, and that can be around the whole thing. I'll demo that in 1 second here. And you also want to have an if statement that makes sure they're only entering data that you allow. So similar to the guard classes that we discussed. So let me demo those. So some kind of guard statement, just like we have right here, right? And then a loop. So what this can be is, oops. Oh, I'm all over the place. Okay. Now, right here, we're making the character. We already kind of talked about wanting to start the adventure. This kind of doesn't make a whole lot of sense right here. Like you got to structure this a little bit better. And we can do it by copying and pasting it out. Okay. Now they made their character. I printed the character sheet. Now I want to start the adventure. Let's just do, instead of calling it start adventure, let's just do scene 1. First scene. Okay. Okay. You can put more commands in here, right? So they know they're in that prison cell. What do you do next, right? Type exit to exit. So you can say is if command is not equal to exit, then And I'm not quite sure what I want to do here yet. So let me just put some comments in to think through my ideas. Okay, I want them to players should be able to specify an action, and then I should handle it here. Okay, that kind of makes sense. If they chose to exit the program, then it won't get into this section at all, and it'll exit. So that's a good start. And so let's do if player command equals go to next room, then okay. All right. Not very game like yet, and that's okay, but this will meet the needs of the assignment. It's also a little bit rough because it's going to make them create a new character, So maybe I should move this out. Maybe we're going to make the character and then we're going to go through the whole thing. Okay. So there's a number of issues with this, but it's okay. I'm not looking for the whole game to be built yet, and we can kind of work through them as they come up. But let's just kind of take a look at this for now. Okay. Let's make a character. What's my character's name? Prismal. So I wanted, yes, that's what I wanted. Okay. Oh, I had a breakpoint. My bad. Okay. Prismal enters a prison cell, a dank, mildew-filled prison cell with a rat-eaten mattress and a thick, rusty iron bars. What do I want to do next? I don't want to exit. I want to, and again, I haven't told them their commands, right? But I'm going to cheat here because this is just for an assignment for learning programming. And to get into the next room, I have to type. I'm a little bit lost on my screen. I have a little tiny window here.
Go to next room.
Yeah. Go to next room. So go to next room. Prismal enters the guard station for the prison cells. Right. Okay. And now, oh man, what a terrible game. Look at this thing. It's duplicating this twice. I just want to exit. And now I'm out.
There's 2 guard stations.
Yeah. Way too much. Yeah. So, but that's kind of what we're looking for. Okay. I want you to use a loop, use some guard clauses, not guard stations, and have 2 classes, so I'm really dealing with character and location. I'm using both of those in a way that I would say qualifies for the sake of the homework. So you could literally take mine and it would pass, but make it your own. Does that make sense, guys? And the quality level I'm looking for, right? It's not so much that we'll get to the point where it's a more functional and fun game, but that would be a big jump for Monday. Let's just get where we're using the tools and how to make it a functional and fun game or TV database will come with some time. Next week will be a whole. Yeah, go ahead.
Will we build something up on the first homework, like keep building it up?
That's the idea. Yes.
Okay, then I want to change the topic.
That's fine. Go ahead, Emmy. Yeah, as long as it has 2 classes for data, 1 for user input, a loop, and some checks with if statements. Anything you want to do is fine. And I'm excited that you're picking something more interesting to you. That's really awesome.
Yeah. No, actually, I'm thinking about concert event because now it has like venue.
Yeah.
And then it has like other, and both of them have a lot of crazy detail feel too. So it's gonna get harder.
Yeah. And that's okay.
I want to know how to build it in C#. Yeah.
There you go. Awesome. So that's homework 1. So recap, we've talked about classes with their variable types. We've talked about control statements. We've done loops and lists. We learned how to do breakpoints, watching variables, and putting logs in. We talked about planning things with Trello, and we talked about stubbing out code for later expansion. So now let's go into the practice part of the class. So I'll end the recording in a minute here, and then you guys can get into your VMs and start writing some code, and I will stand by on Discord for whatever questions you have. Okay.
You can go first because I have to use the restroom really fast.
Oh.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna end the call though. Hit me up on Discord. We can even do a video call on Discord if you want, but we don't have to include that in the recording. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm thinking about I'm gonna go back to work and then if I have question about work, I'll ask.
You guys can ping me. I will try and be available throughout the night for questions and stuff too. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks, guys. And tomorrow is just work on homework. Okay. So that's nice too. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Do we have class time tomorrow or just work on homework?
Let's call it optional. Okay. If you want to do homework with me so I can, help you through debugging and syntax and stuff like that, I am here and available at the normal 1 p.m. Pacific tomorrow to do that with you. Okay.
Okay.
Awesome. All right.
Okay.
Talk to you soon.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Bye bye.